All right, let's dive in. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the coolest magic tricks in all of computer science. It's called hashing. This is the secret sauce, the real magic that lets your computer find one tiny piece of information in a gigantic haystack and do it like instantly.
I mean, just think about it for a second. You type a single letter into your phone's contact list and boom, the right name just appears. You don't sit there waiting for it to scan through every single person you've ever met. So how on earth does it do that so fast?
Well, when you boil it all down, what we're really talking about is a search problem. It doesn't matter if it's your contacts or a huge university database like this one. The challenge is always the same. You've got this massive, structured collection of data, and you need to pinpoint one specific thing as fast as humanly possible.
Now, in the world of computer science, this whole thing actually has a formal name. It's called the dictionary problem. And the goal is pretty simple. How do you build a system where you can store and then find information using some kind of unique identifier, or what we call a key? Now, that key could be anything, right? A student ID, a phone number, even your username for a website.
So that leads us to the first big question. How do we actually solve this instant lookup problem? I mean, how do we design a system that can find one item among millions, or even billions, in the blink of an eye?
And trust me, this isn't just some abstract academic thing. This problem is literally everywhere. It's what lets your bank find your account in a split second. It's how an airline pulls up your reservation instantly. It's how a search engine can sift through the entire internet to find what you're looking for. It is fundamental to how our modern world works.
The dream, the absolute holy grail here, is to do this search in just one single step. In the nerdy technical terms, we call that a constant time or O of one search. And what that really means is, it doesn't matter if you have 10 items or 10 billion items, the search should take the exact same tiny amount of time.
Okay, so how do we get there? Well, there's a really simple, super intuitive idea that at first glance seems absolutely perfect. But as you're about to see, it has a giant show-stopping catch.
This idea is called direct addressing, and it's incredibly straightforward. You just create a massive list, or an array, and you use the unique key itself as the address for where you store the data. So if a student's ID number is, say, 200,120, you put their information right into slot number 200,120 of your array. Simple as that.
And, on the surface, this is amazing. If you want to find someone or add someone or delete someone, you know exactly where to go. You just jump straight to the array spot that matches their key. It takes just one step. This is that constant time search we were dreaming of.
It seems like we've solved it, right? Game over. But if it's so perfect, why aren't we using this for everything? So what's the catch? And here it is. The problem rears its ugly head when the universe of all possible keys is astronomically larger than the number of things you actually need to store.
Let's make this super concrete. Imagine you want to store data for just 50 students, and you decide to use their 9-digit social security number as the key. Okay, so you only have 50 students, but how many possible 9-digit numbers are there? 1 billion. To use this direct addressing method, you would need to create an array with 1 billion slots just to hold data for 50 people.
That is just insane. It means that a mind-boggling 99.999995% of that massive array, all that computer memory you set aside, would be completely empty, totally wasted. It's just not practical at all.
And this is where hashing comes in to save the day. It's the clever magic trick that lets us shrink that enormous universe of keys down to a manageable size, so we can get that one-step search without wasting a billion slots of memory.
The whole solution revolves around a special kind of function called a hash function. Its only job is to take a key, which could be a massive number like an SSN, and convert it, or map it, to a small, usable index that actually fits inside a much, much smaller array.
And this picture illustrates the idea perfectly. You have this huge universe of potential keys over on one side. The hash function acts like a funnel, taking any key from that huge universe and reliably giving it a spot inside our small, efficient hash table.
Let's look at an even simpler example. Here, our keys aren't numbers, they're words. Our hash function takes the word apple and maybe it turns it into the index 5. It takes watermelon and gives back index 3. So, to store apple, we just put it in slot 5 of our table. See? Easy.
And with this one simple trick, we have completely solved the wasted space problem. Instead of needing an array with 1 billion slots for our 50 students, now we might only need one with, I don't know, maybe 100 slots. We just need a table that's roughly the same size as the data we actually have.
But, you know, like with any good magic trick, there's always a little something more going on behind the scenes. So let's talk about the reality of how this magic actually works.
So the obvious question now is, can we design a perfect hash function? You know, a truly magical one that takes every single possible key we could ever throw at it and guarantees it gets its own unique spot in our table, with absolutely no overlaps. And the simple, maybe slightly disappointing answer is, nope. For most real-world situations, creating a perfect hash function, one that guarantees no overlaps at all, is practically impossible.
So this is the real takeaway. This is the big idea. A hash function isn't meant to give you the final exact location of your data. The best we can realistically hope for is a function that tells us where to start looking. It narrows down a universe of 1 billion possibilities to one single starting point. Which, of course, leads us to the final, lingering question. If the hash function isn't perfect, and its job is just to give us a starting point, what happens if it takes 2 totally different keys, like mango and orange, and maps them to the exact same spot? Well, that's the topic for another time. Thanks for joining me.